Hello, hello. Welcome back to my channel. As I say every time, I'm so happy that you're here and grateful for you to be watching. Today, I want to talk to you about the masculine energy within all of us. And if you've watched some of my previous videos, I've been talking a lot about how the masculine and feminine come together for our inner union, which allows us to feel more confident in ourselves and connected to ourselves, which then ripples into our life and into our relationships and into our opportunities and just the experiences that we have with life, essentially. And the importance of being able to come into that internal union or that internal balance of yin yang, light, dark, masculine, feminine, so that we can really understand how we are showing up in life and thus reevaluating our relationship to life without having to be validated or identified with things outside of ourselves. And it all comes from this place of understanding ourselves and our inner world. And today I want to talk about the inner workings of the masculine and how it's shown up for me. In my previous video, the last one I posted, I was talking a lot about how my masculine energy within me, and I point to my right side. This might be left to you, but in my right side of my body, I feel it the most. Um, he took a step back. He pretty much abandoned the feminine energy who was really looking to move forward and looking to experience life because of his own doubt and shame and guilt. And honestly, it comes back to being not enough. And the interesting part about this is that even though this feminine energy that was exuding out of me and wanting to move forward and wanting to experience all these things and have fun and really experience love and adventure and curiosity and embracing those things, he didn't feel like he was going to be able to hold and be secure in himself to be able to match that energy, to be able to hold that, to be able to love it and nurture it to the boundlessness of what that feminine energy was being and exuding. So he took a step back, abandoned the connection with my feminine energy. And in doing so, how I witnessed this is it came with a lot of guilt and shame. It came with a lot of feeling like the abandonment at first felt like it was needed, but then it became almost like a fear-based reaction where I was noticing that my life no longer felt as fun and fulfilling because I didn't have this structure or this map telling me where I needed to be or where I was meant to be going or how to set boundaries. And because I completely lost connection to that masculine energy and that masculine essence of structure. I guess not just structure, there's also the balancedness of like emotionally sitting with myself, the wisdom of those things. And I said in my previous video how a lot of those traits would come up in certain times when I needed them, but otherwise it was very much retreated, a lot of guilt, a lot of shame. And what I have come to realize is that guilt and that shame then penetrated every experience I had because as I sat further and wanting to reconnect with that masculine energy, as I really allowed myself to return to that and figure out, okay, what is happening here? I sat with that fear. I looked at the shame. I looked at the guilt, and I was understanding that my physical life was pretty much framed around all of that. I didn't feel like I could be happy. I didn't feel like I was allowed to be happy until I could make other people happy. I felt like if I chose myself, I'd be abandoning other people just as I abandoned myself. I was essentially recreating this external validation system that was never going to work. I was trying to heal my shame, heal my self-blame, my self-doubt by trying to be more for other people so that I could feel better for myself and maybe finally get what I needed in order to be able to finally choose me, choose love, choose life. And that just isn't how it worked out. And it took a long time for me to understand that that shame and that guilt was never going to be healed from it outside of me. The person I needed to be able to forgive was myself. And it does come off a little manipulative. It is manipulative when you're thinking about utilizing other people, other situations, other circumstances to be able to validate my worthiness or our worthiness inside of ourselves. We're essentially using those circumstances so that people can feel comfortable and we meet people where they're at, which abandons ourselves so that we feel like, okay, well, if I can be here with them, if I can bring my energy into this situation, then and abandon myself, then I don't have to feel guilt or shame because I'm essentially sacrificing myself in order to feel better. And thing was is that the sacrifice never worked. It never worked. It only ever silenced my feminine more. It only ever took away from the essence and appreciation that I have for my masculine energy. And it actually created a deeper separation. And so what ended up having to happen was my masculine energy had to come forth and be like, look, this is how I'm feeling. I'm feeling this shame. I'm feeling this guilt. I'm so sorry that I did this to you. I'm working on forgiving myself. And it was never about you. It was never about how much I loved you, how much I um, thought about you. Like this is like the internal conversation that's kind of happening. And my feminine energy responded being like, look, like I never needed you to be perfect. I never needed you to feel like you could bring everything already into the relationship. I was just hoping that we could build it together. And if there's nothing to forgive, I know that this wasn't personal. And even then, it was almost like I could feel the deep, wounded retreat of like, I need to figure this out on my own. I don't need you here. I don't want you here. I'm not going to talk to you. And like this like tightening of the conversation became this very clear image for me about where I was avoiding and where I was scared. And the only thing that I could understand in that moment was healing was not about sitting in it all the time. It wasn't about fixing or changing the fear. I didn't need to change myself in order to be happy. I didn't need to fix myself to be happy. The healing is in the action. It's almost like, what do they call that? Exposure therapy, right? Healing was in the action and being able to speak the words that were true and what I meant. And I think that once my feminine allowed my masculine to actually be able to speak to the fear, the shame, the guilt, it became this like understanding of, okay, I never actually had to sacrifice myself in order to feel good enough for this. I never actually had to go and like get all of these things that I never ended up getting in order to be loved. I never needed to fill the space or fill the potential. I didn't need to be the potential before the potential even came. You know, the opportunity itself is the ability to rise to the potential. And so in that, it created this dynamic where, you know, the guilt and the shame was still very present. I still feel it, but my actions are now aligned to being more present with it and taking action towards things that are not aligned with the fear, it's aligned with the love. It's aligned with the understanding that I don't need to be able to make other people feel better so that I feel better. It's not this understanding of having to dim my light so that I sacrifice myself in order to ensure that my worthiness is aligned with fear, you know? And so the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I do believe that a lot of people carry shame and guilt and keep themselves abandoning like love, avoiding the truth because they want to sit in the belief that their worthiness is dependent upon them meeting the potential before it even like allows itself to grow. It's almost like I need to be enough now. I need to be all of this now before it even like actually gets to its peak, which actually it can't happen. That's not realistic. We grow into that. We get these opportunities so that we can grow into that. That's what life is all about. It's not about being everything all at once. It's about experiencing life so that we can actually move towards the version of ourselves that comes next. And so, again, I'm sharing this because I want people to understand that the shame and the guilt and the doubt can be recognized and understood within ourselves. And also, how does that then reflect into our relationships, our opportunities, our life? And where are we then projecting our belief in that guilt and the belief of that shame into our relationships in order to feel better? Where are we allowing ourselves to be small to validate those unaligned beliefs rather than actually being able to understand that the reason why we retreated or the reason why we aren't being whole within ourselves is not because we're not worthy enough or good enough. It's that the idea of having to be all of that before we are worthy is what's actually keeping us from receiving it. So the message is that you are worthy now and you will grow with the potential. You are going to move into the place that is meant for you, not by avoiding it and not by thinking you need to do anything to get to it, but by actually allowing yourself to receive the initial opportunity and allow yourself to understand that the abandonment that other people feel, although it might be hard, is not really a responsibility that you need to be taking on. So I will leave it there. I am sending you so much love and I will talk to you soon. Please be sure to leave a thumbs up and a comment below to make sure that we push this video forward. Yeah, also subscribe. I would love that as well. So I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.